and I'd like to hear their stories and their perspectives in terms of what has been going on, what is being done, and whether their needs are actually being addressed. Because we got the people here who can solve the problems or who are trying to solve the problems. Perhaps we can begin with you. Yes.
Good morning, all. My name is Abdurrahman Zanna. I came from Bama local government, and also I'm IDP, that is internally displaced person.
So you fled Bama to Maiduguri?
Yes.
And where are you staying at the moment?
Yeah, at the moment.
Are you in a camp or you're with family?
Yeah, I'm in the camp so far.
Okay.
Why? Because I'm in the camp. Staying in the town is very rare. Why? Because all what we are doing at home, we are no longer doing here. So that is why we decide to stay in the camp in order to reduce the cost. And we are staying in the camp. So
what were you doing before the insurgents chased you out? What was your job?
Okay, I am a businessman, doing business before they chase us out.
Selling, trading?
Yeah, I'm doing trading.
Okay.
So before they chase us out. So we are in the camp so far now, and government are doing their best, and non-governmental organizations also so far they are doing their best, and also the military too. And what we need here now is the reconstruction of the buildings that were liberated by these insurgents. We need to have it. Many people have returned.
So what are you saying? You want to go back home?
Yeah, we want to go back home. And we want to go back home to continue with our normal life as before. And for us to going back home, we have to get the feast before being there. Okay. And the military are doing their best now, and we thanks to them so far. Before you're not even going out of the metropolis, but you can now go to Bama, you can go to Banki, you can fast to Goza, wherever you want to go, you can go.
So if that's the case, why haven't you gone back? If Bama is now safe and you want to go home, what is stopping you from going back?
What stopped me for not going home now is that the level of the business over there is no longer to my to my expectation. Right. So I engage in some certain businesses here. Okay. So I would like when the time business to boost there, so I want to go back and join the people.
Yeah. This raises the issue of the impact of the insurgency on the economy of the Northeast and the fact that, it wasn't a very affluent society to begin with, but this insurgency has further damaged people's abilities to earn a living. So farmers are not farming, traders are not trading, petty traders, all of that. What is the outlook in terms of the economy of the Northeast based on the sort of work you're doing, Malam Musa?
Okay, I take Bama for instance as a genuine and present example. Now, the state government has done quite a few things in Bama to encourage return. That included replenishing and renovating personal homes, while the PCNI and its partners have recovered all the public structures in Bama. And currently, the General Hospital in Bama is going to be commissioned in about 2 weeks' time, fully equipped and also ready to receive more people. As I speak to you, more people are going back to Bama. And like he rightly said, the population is picking up, but slowly. This is not going to be a lights off, lights on approach. It has to be organic in nature. Now, this applies to a lot of communities that are in Borno State. But if you speak to communities in Yobe State, where there is no longer any single camp, all camps have been closed in Yobe, only one remains in Adamawa, we are concentrating on livelihood support to females returning to continue with businesses, males to continue with farming. Now, this is all possible because of the security of the area. The military have done pretty well in terms of liberating a lot of areas. As they liberate areas, challenges come out. For instance, right now, the PCNI is in active assessment with the military, Federal Ministry of Health, and on instruction from the Vice President to assess the level of malnutrition in those areas that are deemed to be inaccessible.
Well, I'm told half of something like 755 health centers in the Northeast have been destroyed, and that children, I think the numbers of malnourished children, I think, across Nigeria is almost 2 million, although I don't have the numbers. I don't know if you diet, you have the numbers at all. No, you don't. Okay. So there's an assessment taking place.
Right now, yes.
Okay, in order to... let me ask you, Dr. Mariam, if I look at a few things here, and on the issue of building people back and enabling them to sort of start their businesses, I've heard a number being bandied around. Government saying they've spent something like $6.2 or $6.1 million on the Northeast. What has that money gone to, if that number is correct? And if it is not correct, what is the right number?
Okay, in terms, when you say government?
Well, there was a recent, document that was released. I think it was the Minister of Budget and Planning that said something like 6.1, I think it was, $6.1 million has been spent on rehabilitating the Northeast.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get a sense of where did that money go to? Is it a question of just rebuilding infrastructure? Is it a question of providing people with seed money so they can start their businesses again? Or is it just security, equipping the army and making sure that they can go and fight?
Okay, I think the figure you're referring to came out of the Humanitarian Response Plan for 2018.
Yes.
Yes, and it's $6.4 billion, if I'm right, $billion. But that figure actually speaks to the total budget of all the states in the Northeast. Monies have been spent on the military and also federal allocation to the Northeast. So it's not just the federal government's money, but it was a collation, if you'd like,
an aggregation
of total monies in the Northeast itself. So not specific to humanitarian alone, or not specific to development alone, but everything that is being spent in the region from the state government and the federal government, including allocation to the military as well.
Okay. Now, Lafarge Africa, the cement manufacturer that operates, in the Northeast, their managing director recently, Guillem Roux, said basically that his business has lost something like 2.5 billion because it could not meet the sale margin due to insecurity in the Northeast, which suggests that even though we talk about this region as being quite poor, there was a degree of business that was still taking place before the advent of Boko Haram. And so the question of not just the displaced people, but also businesses that have sort of been out of business, what is the thinking around that, of encouraging people to come back?
Right. I think once there is security, businesses will thrive, businesses will move. If I look back to how long I've been coming here, about 3 years now, and from then to now, I've seen Borno, Adama, Yobe. I've been around the region. Particularly here, which is the epicenter, I've seen quite a bit of development. People. The other day, I was having a discussion with someone who was taking his cats to the vet, and this is here in Maiduguri. We see a number of flights that have also increased in coming here. If it wasn't safe, people wouldn't be flying here. You can almost not get a ticket if you're trying to come into Borno, even hotels. So it's been a gradual process. There's still quite a bit to do, but work is going on, and businesses are slowly returning. Once people feel the sense of security and safety, businesses will begin to come back. There's a lot of rebuilding that is going on. There are homes, there are hospitals that's being done by the government, and these things require materials which are coming from somewhere. And so that is also, the microeconomy when it comes to the building, jobs being created, but also the big businesses as well. And once we can provide a safe environment, these things will begin to happen.
Now, private sector companies are involved in trying to see what they can contribute to rebuilding the Northeast. And one of the people, for example, that is involved is the chairman of the Northeast Trust, Mr. Jim Ovia. I sat down with him for a conversation to try and get a sense of why the private sector felt the need to get involved with the problems of the Northeast.